everybody, it's Amanda. I'm sitting in my car. I am waiting for the day to get busy. Let's be real. I have been driving for a living for the last 5 years. My husband also drives for a living, and we recently put out a few videos about food stamps, losing our food stamps, what that experience was, and our lives on a low income. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Amanda. I'm 35 years old. I live in Oregon with my husband, and we currently live in a 1966 single wide in a mobile home park. We have been on a low income all of our adult lives, and my husband Jordan grew up with a large family who was also on a low income. So one thing I wanted to touch on is that everything has been hard since the economy has really started to change. And I'm talking jobs are harder to find. It's harder to find full-time work, and a lot of things have gone up and things have not been coming down. And I'm talking food, utilities, car insurance, and a lot of people are having struggles with homeowners insurance. Things seem to be going up a few bucks here and a few bucks there, and some of the prices of things in the store have not really changed all that much, or they've gotten a little bit more expensive. Some of which are things like eggs. The prices of eggs are ridiculous. So I made a food stamp video. Actually, I made 3 food stamp videos over the last month, and I want to know, what are the prices in your store? What is the price of your eggs? What is the price of a gallon of milk? And how much do you think it costs for you to eat a month? And I'm not just talking you, I'm talking your whole family. What is your food budget? Now, I did get asked a few questions over and over and over again, so I want to make these answers as clear as possible. So I have been trying really hard to increase my income, and my husband has been trying very hard to increase his income, so that way our lives can get a little bit better and we can become debt free. We have been on a journey to save money and to show our budgeting and finances over the last few years on YouTube. My hope would be that I no longer have to be in this boat forever. Now, I was on EBT food stamps a few months ago, and I lost my EBT food stamps due to making too much money. My income increased. So even though my income didn't increase to the point where I am still not on a low income, I made 30 some odd dollars over the threshold. Therefore, we lost our food stamps. Now, I'm proud of us for kind of starting to break out of this mold. And someone asked me the other day in a comment, Amanda, not to be rude, but if you were to lose your income altogether, or if your income decreased drastically over this last winter, would you be able to reapply for food stamps? And the answer is, I currently cannot get food stamps because I had to show my previous year's income. And when you are self-employed, you have to bring the whole thing. I'm not just talking a few pages, I'm talking the whole thing in, from your tax advisor to that particular entity, which would be the food stamp office. So I am not going to be able, according to what I'm finding out from my tax advisor, that I'm not going to be able to get on food stamps in 2025. And that's okay, because it has changed. Life has changed. I've had to make more money to cover bills. I've had to make more money to cover food that I cannot provide with just food stamps alone, because at the end of the month, we were really just trying to get by. I also don't want to make anyone feel like they shouldn't go get services if they think that they need them. So if you need food stamps, please go to your local food stamp office. And if you can't get on food stamps, maybe it's time to look into a food pantry. The other question I got asked is, are you currently trying to find another hourly job to help you pay down the debt? And the answer is yes, I'm currently looking, but I want to be very, very clear. I already work for a living, and I want to be able to pick a night job that I don't have to break my back or essentially something I don't want to do. I was working at a convenience store, and I was in a situation where someone came in and threatened me. So I don't want to be in that situation just to make a little bit of extra money to pay off my debt. My safety comes first. So yes, I'm always looking for opportunities. However, I do like my job, and I want to continue to work this job. Another question I got asked is, if you are no longer on food stamps because of the 30 some odd dollars that you have made over the limit, what would your food budget look like? If some of you guys haven't watched my weekly cash stuffing of my wallets, I do have a wallet and my husband has a wallet. And we found this method through the budgeting community a few years ago. So I stuff categories in this wallet, and one includes groceries. So I have a limit of $70 to $80 a week for groceries. And even though I have a working pantry and we have a 7.1 cubic foot freezer, I am very particular on the things that we buy. I don't want to buy things that we're not going to eat, even if it's a good deal. I do still, from time to time, go to a food pantry in my local area. I only have one, so I really try to use it sparingly, and only when they're giving away food twice a month. So that means that instead of them throwing it away, I'm going to utilize it. I recently just got some breads and some gluten-free tortillas. I don't know if they're tortillas or wraps, but they are something that my husband can eat. The other thing that I'm very particular about is I don't want to cook more than one meal. So a lot of times my husband will have to eat something that is different from us because he is gluten-free, and he will get very, very sick. He has an autoimmune disorder that keeps him from being able to process wheat, gluten products. So for a while we had to transition a little bit, and we had to start being creative with some of our meals. And if some of you guys are gluten-free, let me know. Do you have a good homemade gluten-free bread recipe that I could use? I have been looking for one for a while now, because not all gluten-free items taste good. I'm also looking to possibly get a bread maker, so that way I can start making some of these things fresh and a little bit cheaper. Because we'll be real, some of these products are very expensive. Gluten-free bread can run anywhere between $8 to $12 a loaf, and I know I can make it cheaper at home. So if you have any good bread recipes, let me know. But I really try to only buy the things we need at the store. I do have an envelope like this one, where if I don't use all of this money, I will then transfer the money from this envelope each week into a bulk shop envelope, where I can go and buy bulk things like meat for the freezer and canned goods and dry goods. Things that I keep on hand that really help me out a lot would be dry beans, oats, and I do try my best to keep things like lentils, rice, canned goods, such as fruits, veggies, and even some sides such as dried mashed potatoes. So that way I can just grab something from my pantry and make it. I make 3 meals a day. Not everybody in my household eats breakfast, but I have to, so I can take my thyroid medication. However, I do still cook lunch and dinner. And there are times where we have easy grab and go stuff. For the most part, I try to make everything from scratch. It does help my budget out quite a bit. So if we want something like a dessert, I have to bake it. That is my number one rule. So even if I buy it boxed, I have to make it. Like for Valentine's Day, I made the boxed gluten-free brownies to try them for the very first time. Now those brownies were actually really good, considering that I don't really like most gluten-free items. And I know my husband doesn't either, but you know, you have to do what you have to do in order to not be sick. However, I think that my best answer to all your questions are that I'm trying my best to stay away from the system the best I can. I want to thrive in life. And I think it makes it really hard when you really want to thrive and people really want to ask you questions of why you wouldn't go back to it. I really want to have a better year. I want 2025 to be my year where we really sit down with our finances and we get out of debt. I don't want to be in credit card debt. I don't want to have personal debt. I don't want to have medical debt. And really, we are so close. We only have 2 credit cards left and maybe a handful, maybe like 7 other debts that we need to pay down in order to be debt free. I really want this for me, and I'm hoping that you guys can support this as well. I hope I answered your questions. But really, with the food system the way it is and the fact that I'm self-employed, I can't hide anything from the food stamp office. They know how much money I make from that stack of papers from my tax advisor. So you can only do what you can with what you got. Start cooking from scratch. Start bulking up on stuff that is going up. If you see it change in price the next time you go to the store, grab one more. Start a working pantry. Get yourself a freezer. Start freezing meat when you see it on a good deal. Bye, guys.